Two-stage audit. Stage one audit is very, very important. And what is the purpose of this? To develop understanding of the client organization, review their management system documentation. Imagine you have received a request for certification of an organization to ISO 9001 2015, and you don't know the organization. You don't have any information. You don't have any idea what they are doing and how is their management system managed. So you need to understand their organization's whereabouts, how big is the organization, what type of processes they have, what kind of documentation they have. Suddenly you cannot go for an assessment for implementation verification without looking at whether they've got basic documentation in place or not, whether they have got understanding of quality management system or other management system at all in place. So in stage one, you develop an understanding of the client organization, review their documentation, review the client location, site-specific condition, which may be very important for you to consider. Review client status and readiness and understanding of the standard. Do they have a thorough understanding of the standard? Do they understand the context of the organization? Are they really reviewing the external issues and internal issues? Are they periodically reviewing those risks and opportunities that can affect their organizational quality management system or other management systems? So therefore, it is very important for an organization, the certification body, to assess understanding of the maturity of the organization and their implementation status before you can plan for stage two audit, right? Then obtain necessary information regarding the scope of certification, what products and services, what activities they are performing, what kind of products they make, what kind of services they offer. Their certification scope can be limited, but total range of services could be very wide. It's a big organization, maybe few divisions or few processes or few product lines can be part of the certification audit. So their scope of certification can be limited or lesser than the total scope of the organization's business. Therefore, you need to develop those understanding. All right. The sites, processes, statutory and regulatory requirements. You need to get an understanding what is the complexity of the organization. Once you visit there, these are the kind of complexity. Let me give an example to you. Many years ago, I was involved as the team leader for an organization, and they are doing drilling support services. They are doing stimulation, acid stimulation. They are doing cementing. I did not have an expertise in cementing process and stimulation process. I needed to have some technical support for me to guide me on those stimulation process, on well cementing process. So when we plan for a stage two and conformity assessment, the on-site verification for allocation of the auditors and resources, we need to perform a stage one audit and find out what kind of resources we would need. We would assess readiness of the customer. And how do we assess readiness? Whether they have implemented the standard. They have created an awareness program. People are basically aware. They have implemented management system standard and necessary documented information that the standard requires them to be maintained and retained are actually available. They are performing internal audit. They have implemented management review process, and they have also implemented corrective actions that were raised during maybe the audit. So we assess clients' readiness for the stage two audit. We provide focus for stage two audit. For example, during stage one audit, we know that critical process is stimulation service, and they are using a very strong acid. They're transporting acids to site, and they're taking bulkers and the cement for cementing operation. These are the most crucial operation, which depends on site preparedness, which is beyond their control at times, because certain part of their client's readiness would also affect their work. So how the interfaces are working. So you can identify whether the areas, which are the focused area, which are the critical areas where you need to pay attention and more focus. Accordingly, you identify your resources and make your plan to audit those areas effectively. And internal audit and management reviews are being planned and also performed, and level of implementation of quality management system substantiates client readiness for stage 2 audit. So you check the readiness of the customer, of the client organization for the stage 2 audit, where you are going to do assessment of implementation and effectiveness of implementation of quality management system. So what kind of documents we review during stage 1? Quality management system documented informations. The standard requires certain documented informations be maintained and certain documented informations shall be retained. So whether they are maintaining and retaining those documented informations. We check procedures if they have developed records and results of previous audits. Determine conformity with criteria as far as documented. So we have to see whether they are in conformity to the requirements. The documentation that can be reviewed includes information and roles and responsibilities and authorities of people, quality policy statement, quality objectives and programs, quality management system, audit process and procedures, quality procedures and work instructions, applicable legal and other requirements as specified by the customer. An organization is required to assess legal and other requirements, and they have to demonstrate compliance to those requirements. One thing I would like to highlight here, as an auditor, we are not assessing the organization for compliance to statutory requirement. That's outside the purview of the quality management system audits. We look at conformity to the standard, not compliance to the legal requirement, but we see the organization has a process in place. There are people with defined responsibility who will look at the compliance obligations and ensure that the organization is indeed in compliance to the legal and other requirements. Nonconformity and corrective actions. When an organization raised the nonconformity, they have taken corrective actions. Internal audit and management review results. So these are some of the records we check during stage 1 audit, and we would like to verify those mandatory documents, documented informations are in place, are implemented and ready. The organization is basically ready, and we can plan for the stage 2 audit.